This is a stack of acrylic sheets, some LED lights, and a guy slightly obsessed with the nostalgia of the 76 logo, who has never built an LED backlit sign. But hey, I'm familiar with lasers and stuff, so what could go wrong? In this video, I'm going to show you how I design and laser cut the acrylic sheets to get a tight fit in the logo without glue, build a frame, install the LED backlighting, and show you a few bonus projects you can make from acrylic. To get started, you'll need to pick up some good acrylic sheets and make sure that they all have a consistent thickness. A lot of people don't know what type of acrylic is safe to laser cut, and while nobody's reported back dead after cutting acrylic with their lasers, you'll always want to have a good way to ventilate the exhaust because this stuff stinks. If you're used to your shop smelling like walnut or cedar, this is the complete opposite. You'll want to use a mask even if you have an exhaust system like this. The type of acrylic that I'm using is cast acrylic. This is the most common type used for laser cutting. It's available in a wide range of colors, opacities, and thicknesses. Cast acrylic produces a clean, polished edge when cut, making it great for projects like this. Some other types of acrylics are fluorescent, textured, and extruded acrylic, which is much like cast, but it can leave a little bit more of a rougher edge. Another cool type of acrylic that I didn't know that I was going to use in this project is mirrored acrylic, and you'll see why in a bit. The 76 logo has some iconic colors, and their branding is very consistent with the color scheme, so I'm going to do my best to choose acrylic colors that match the brand as best as possible. You can get acrylic like this from Co2 or several online stores, but since I was looking for a very specific color, I went into a local supplier here in Houston. You may be wondering why I'm making this gas station sign. Not only does this remind me of going to the 76 station as a kid with my friends, I now work in the oil and gas business and wanted a cool sign to display. Because this acrylic is 12 inches tall, I'm limited to the dimension for this semi-rounded sign, but you can get bigger sheets and use the conveyor if you have the X-Tool P2 system, like this, or if you have a larger laser. I said semi-round because, as it turns out, when I did my vector file, the outside of the circle somehow got skewed and it's not a perfect circle. And at this point, I hadn't figured that out yet. It wasn't until I went to go assemble it, which you'll see in a minute. If you use the conveyor with the P2 system, it will allow you to do up to 19.5 inch wide material, but like I mentioned, I'm limited on wall space, so 12 inches I think will be perfect. You can use Lightburn or the XCS software if you're using an X-Tool laser. For this project, I'll be using the XCS software, and after dropping the design into the software, I separate the cut layers. I start with the orange acrylic to get the outline of the design and cut out the portion of the logo that will be filled in white. At this point, there's no need to do anything special except cut it. Once that part is done, it starts to get a little bit more tricky. The laser has a kerf like a saw would, so when it cuts the material, the thickness of the laser beam will be removed from the material. In order to get a tight fit, that means the white portion I need to cut out has to compensate for the kerf. There are websites that you can download a kerf file to determine the exact kerf of your laser, but I did a very scientific test using some small squares and determined that doing an offset of 0.2 would give me a tight fit between the pieces. For the white portion, I select the line I cut previously and do an outline of 0.2 around it, making the outside dimension about 0.4 millimeters larger than the same cut in the orange acrylic. It will all make sense in a minute. You see, if I didn't make this piece larger, then the white piece wouldn't be as snug inside the orange, and you'd see a huge gap between the two pieces. Now that the white piece is done, it's time to cut out the numbers. I used the same process to add 0.2 millimeters to the outside of the blue letters, and for some reason it didn't fit perfectly like the other ones, so I had to do it again. This time with only a 0.1 millimeter outline, which actually did work out perfectly. I guess that's where the kerf test would have come in handy. I'll leave a link to the one that I've used in the past in the description. I repeat the process for the white center of the number 6, and wouldn't you know it, another user error. When I selected the number 6 to do the outline, I accidentally took 0.1 millimeters away from the inside of the number 6, so I had to cut a larger centerpiece to fit inside. You see, even YouTubers make mistakes, which I'm sure somebody's already typed in the comments. After test fitting everything together, I started the satisfying process of peeling the masking away from the acrylic. I'm still worried about how the LEDs will look behind this because after holding the lights behind the sign, you can clearly see the individual LEDs like I thought you would be able to. But I think I have a solution for that. Before we can do that, I need to build a frame to house the LEDs. Initially, I was thinking that every average woodworker needs to incorporate at least one piece of unnecessary walnut in their project. But with limited time to finish this project before heading out of town, I decided to layer some pieces of acrylic on the side instead. So I ended up cutting out these circles and I'll be stacking them up and then gluing them together. I'm using this acrylic glue and some clamps to make sure my oddly shaped circle stays as much of a circle as possible. Another way that I could have done this is by bending some acrylic by heating it up, but I don't have any thinner orange acrylic to do this. That would have probably been a better way to do the frame and would have looked cleaner. I don't know, how would you do the frame for this? Let me know in the comments. After allowing the glue to set, I loosely test the LEDs behind the sign, and this is actually where I had to pivot. Just as I suspected, the LEDs are pretty visible through the sign, but I have this mirrored acrylic that actually may help deflect the light a bit behind the sign, so I tested it out before I cut any of the LEDs or the mirrored acrylic. It's at this time I'm pretty set on using mirrored acrylic for the back to help the light reflect a bit more. Remember, a CO2 laser uses a series of mirrors that direct the laser beam to the work surface. So if you're cutting mirrored acrylic, you're basically giving the laser another surface to reflect off of. To avoid damaging your laser, it's best to cut through the acrylic with the mirrored side down, or at least make sure that you have some masking on the surface so you don't accidentally have a game of laser tag in your shop. Because I'm not 100% sure that I want to use these LEDs for this, I ordered this rope style LED strip on Amazon and it just arrived yesterday. This LED strip can be cut down to size, but before I do that I wanted to test it out. I start by putting the light face toward the mirror because I thought it would diffuse a little bit more. Then I noticed it created some darker rings toward the outside and I really didn't like that, so I decided to turn the LED rope over and put the light toward the front of the sign. It leaves a really cool glow on the outside of the sign, which makes it feel more vintage. Here's what it looks like with the old LED lights, and before I show you the final shots, I wanted to show you a couple of other cool things you can make with acrylic. If you made it this far into the video, leave a comment starting with laser projects, so I know you made it to this part of the video and are one of the 40% of the people still watching who enjoy projects like this. When I was doing this video, I had to stop and make some acrylic tags for my son's baseball team, so I thought I'd show you a couple of extra projects here for you. This is a two-tone acrylic, which has a thin layer of one color and a thicker layer of another color. It's really easy to engrave through the top layer and then clean it up with soap and water. I also made this sign for our kitchen to put above our espresso maker. Take a look at the links in the description to see what kind of acrylics you can use for your projects. Now back to the sign to show you the final shots. If you want to learn more about the P2 laser or see some other laser projects, you're going to want to check out one of these videos right here. Thanks for watching.